Hey everybody, it's Dennis, and I've got another interview today with Udemy instructor Scott Paton, who is joining me from Canada in the Vancouver, BC area. And I'm going to have him introduce himself first, and then we're going to start talking about some things with Udemy to give you an idea more for my upcoming book, Udemy Life, just some of the things that Udemy instructors are doing out there. Hey, Scott, thanks for joining me today.
Hi, Dennis. Pleasure to be here. Hello, everybody. My name's Scott Paton. I'm the Dean of Blogonomics and Pedology. I've been teaching podcasting since 2005. Podcasting as a word came out in the fall of 2004. And then there's controversy as to when, but who cares? It's 10 years. Been teaching it, been going around the world, sharing the good news of podcasting, if I can put it that way. And build some websites, help people with marketing, that sort of stuff. But really the focus is on podcasting and Udemy right now.
Awesome. That's cool. That's quite a long time. I didn't realize that podcasting had been around that long. So do you remember when you first came across Udemy?
No, I don't actually. And the reason that I know that I don't is in the fall of 2014, I was asked to go into a company and talk to their marketing department about podcasting. And it turns out that this particular company did apps, and they did the Starbucks app and the Walmart app and all these big companies, and they did their apps. So I was a little bit like, wow, this big company wants to talk to me about podcasting. And the chief marketing officer was very, very excitable. Like if he got on an idea, he would just get really excited. And of course, it's infectious. And when we were done talking, he said, Scott, you got to do a video course on podcasting. This stuff was absolutely amazing. So I thought, oh, okay, I'll do that. And so then, of course, the question is, where do you do it? And so I did a little search and checked around. And I found Udemy. So I thought, oh, okay, well, I'll just sign up. I couldn't sign up because I had already signed up a year earlier.
Oh, wow.
Someone had told me about it. I'd signed up, took a look around, ignored it, went away, and boy, do I wish I had started a year earlier. But that was my first experience of Udemy was in the fall of 2014.
So it sounds like you signed up and then you forgot about it and then came across it again when you had this kind of suggestion that you do the podcasting course, and I kind of remember when you started that. Had you done any online courses before that, or just the podcasting?
Most of the teaching that I had done before was live. It was either one-on-one or boot camps. I had also written a book called Podcasting Unleashed, which I had put out, which was basically a how-to. But I had never really done. I'd done a lot of video work, done a lot of podcasting, but I'd never put together a course before.
Do you still have that book out there then?
Yeah, Podcasting-Unleashed, but don't buy it. You're far better off to go get Power Podcasting on Udemy.
Yeah, things
a lot more
change.
Value and a better price.
True, yeah, and things change because I have a book out that I did that I was just like, okay, trying to keep up with the way that things change with technology was a little bit difficult. So,
yes.
So when, like last year, when did you launch that first course? It sounds like it was the podcasting course, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
The first course launched in mid-January 2015. So 2014 was a very interesting year for me because I just about died. My liver stopped.
Ooh.
And then my pancreas got inflamed. And then I found myself 45 pounds lighter chewing on ice chips in a hospital for 3 weeks to a month. And I had IVs in, and they were testing my blood and giving me this. Nobody knew why. It just seemed like my liver had been poisoned. So before that happened, I decided that I wanted to go to Machu Picchu in South America. So I bought the ticket. And then I got sick and almost died. And then I could not walk from where you are sitting to the wall behind you, because I lost about 30% of my muscle mass. So basically 6 weeks before my trip, probably a month before my trip, I got out of the hospital. And I was like, am I still going? Am I not going? The doctor said, well, there's no reason why you can't go, except that it's like South America. And so I went, and one of my goals when I went was to design the course and to do some of the introductions. There was no place where the sound wasn't noisy, so I didn't want to record the actual lectures. But when you take my course, you will see me walking around Machu Picchu introducing the sections, and you'll see probably about 30 pounds less of me, and I'm huffing and puffing as I'm walking up and walking around because I'm at 6,000 feet elevation, and I've hardly been walking for the previous 2 or 3 months. So
That's interesting because I've seen part of the course, and now I kind of know the story,
the
behind
secret
it.
origin of the course.
Yeah. Yeah. So how many courses do you have now?
I have 24 that are live right now.
Wow.
I have 53 in various stages of development.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like go big or go home.
That's impressive because we were talking earlier before this, excuse me, I just submitted course number 7, and I have courses that I've written down, but nowhere near that many. So that's pretty cool. So what's your most popular course? Is it that podcast course?
Yeah, the podcasting course is generally my most popular, but I have 3 stock option courses. Well, there's more, but the 3 main stock option courses are also right up there. So I basically have 2 courses that are very, very popular. The rest are they're ahead of the bunch. The rest are trying to catch up, I guess would be a good way to put it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So with that many courses, I'm sure that you probably have some tips that you can offer others. So how about like maybe a couple of course creation tips? Because I always like to know when somebody has that many courses out. Because you said you started back in 2014. I started in July of 2014. Either I'm a pretty good procrastinator or I just haven't found the magic formula yet.
Well, I started my first course in October 2014,
Wow.
and it was launched January 2015,
Mm-hmm.
mid January, and then they all came after that. So um, I think there's a couple things. One is, first of all, having a system, and secondly, deciding what you want to do. And what I did, which and it's all up to the individual. I'm stuck with it because that's how I started. What I did was I went and I told 4 or 5 of my clients about Udemy because I was really excited. I thought, wow, like look at this, 2,000 students and this and that. And I mean, I did not understand how it worked. So when I was looking outside, I thought, here's a gold mine. And I still think it is, just not the way I thought it was. And so I told all these clients of mine, and of course, what did they say? Let's do a course, Scott. So what I do is I do a lot of co-instructing. And because I know the system,
Mm-hmm.
that's how I sell it, right? So basically it's, your topic, let's go on a hangout, we'll record it, give me some supplementary materials, I will organize the course, I will edit the video, I will upload everything, I'll write the sales copy. All you got to do is show up for a couple hours and the course is done. And we aim for between an hour to an hour and a half of content. And then we'll create a second one, third one, fourth one. Well, with that plan, it's very, very quick to make courses, right? And again, it depends on your topic. Obviously, if it's something that you need, like coding, and you need to show screenshots and everything else, but Udemy is moving towards really pushing talking heads, sort of like what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
So I asked somebody who's knows yoga. Can you talk on yoga for an hour? Well, of course I can talk for hours and hours on it. Great. Put together an outline. Give me the outline. I'll put the course in. We use Udemy as the outline. So the course goes into Udemy because it doesn't get lost. And then they bring up the curriculum. I bring up the curriculum. We know this is the introduction. This is section 2, section 3. This is a conclusion. And there are certain things that are going to be the same on all the courses. Every course has an introduction. Every course introduces introduces the instructor. Every course should introduce yourself. Ask the student to introduce themselves. We want to know who you are. What do you want to get out of this course? And interaction is so important. How do you do that? Well, right off the hop, you tell them, go over there, put in your name, tell us where you're about, what you're about, what you're going, whatever is on the topic, and then you go from there. So with that structure, I now outsource the video editing. I've got a great video editor. She's done 10 courses for me now. So like she just knows the whole system. Like I just send her the video, she cuts it up, she puts stuff in, flies it around, does a way better job than me, which
Yeah.
is what you want. And everybody loves with the way it looks. And then she uploads it all. So all I have to do is hit, we get the other person to review it, I review it. Any changes, we make the change, hit publish, send it up for review. Because I've done so many, I know what they're looking for, generally speaking. And about 1 in every 3 course, I have no fixes, which I'm just so happy about.
Hmm. That's really interesting, the process that you use there, and also a good point. You talk about like having, of course, we know that we want to introduce ourselves as the instructor, but a lot of us forget to have the student like, hey, tell us where you're from. Let us know what you're looking to get out of this course. And while you're taking the course, leave us some feedback on stuff that maybe we can improve or add to the course to make it better. We forget to do that sometimes as instructors. And, I just thought about that, like with my course that I submitted, you talked about the talking head. Well, I've got some talking head in there, but I always forget, like, hey, I'm Dennis, I'm the instructor. Welcome to the course. I've got to go back and add that into there. I sometimes rush. I need like a list to check off. So, what about some advice for marketing those courses once they're done? How do you get out there and get those sold?
There's a number of different philosophies when it comes to that. And the one that I heard about first was get 50,000 students and all your problems are solved.
Hmm.
So the question then is, how do you do that? I'm actually at 9,900 students. I cannot believe that I'm almost at 10,000 students. It's just like, wow, right?
Yeah.
And it's not a direct, like, it's probably most of them have not started a course. Okay, that's just the nature of the beast, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's the same thing with, like, there was an infographic about books. Like, the average grade 12 grade 12 student reads 2 books. After they graduate, they don't read 2 books for 20 years.
Whoa.
And then it goes to university graduates, bachelor's degree, they read, 1 book every 2 years or something, or 2 books every 2 years. And then
Mm-hmm.
PhDs and I'm reading a book every 2 weeks. So the majority of people don't. They want to watch, the baseball game, the football game, and that sort of thing. And you just have
Yeah.
to understand. So why do you want students? Well, because they pay for the course would be one reason, but also because of the social proof. If you've got a course with 1 student and 1 5-star review, and Udemy looks at it and trying to decide which one of their 13,000 courses they want to promote today, and they see your course, they're going to be saying, well, no, because we could send 1,000 people here. They're going to look, they're going to say, well, like, 1 person's taken this course. Like, why would I take this course? But if
Mm-hmm.
1,000 have, or 500 have, or 50,000 have, like, there's one course the iOS guy did. iOS 9 course just came out, and he's got, like, I'm not sure if it's that course or another one, but one of his courses has 232,000 students.
Really? Is that the guy who has a course in Arabic or
No,
no?
no. There's a guy on Arabic. Yeah, there's a
Yeah,
guy on Arabic course. It's like an insane
uh,
number of courses.
I know. And you have a good point with the social proof, and that's, I think, the biggest frustration because you see it too. And I'm getting a little bit of feedback here. I don't know if you can hear that or not. But in the Udemy studio, people are talking about, well, they're not taking the course or whatever. And that's like, they think it's like a false number. And I'm like, that's not true because you can't force that person if they enroll to take the course or not. I have courses, and maybe you do too, or books that we've bought that we're not reading, or DVDs that we're not watching. So it's the same thing with the Udemy course. You need to have, like you said, that social proof, because people see that. And I was looking at some of the your reviews and stuff like that, and you need reviews and things like that in order for people to decide to take your course or not. So I think that
Mhm.
that's a great point that you bring up.
Yeah, to me, it's like don't don't worry about all that stuff. What you want to do is you want to set up your course so that Udemy will sell it. And I could be a really good promoter, I could be a really good marketer, and I could be driving a ton of traffic to my course. If that's true for you, don't put your course on Udemy. Why would you do that?
Yeah,
Because if you've got 100,000 people in your email list and they all love you and you put out an email and they all buy, why would you put it on Udemy? Well, they are a really good video hosting company. Okay, maybe that would be the reason. But you've got Amazon S something or other that you can host it there just as easily. Udemy is a great place for people that don't want to or don't know how to market.
hmm,
Okay, because if you get to 50,000 students, Udemy is going to be pushing your courses. And if Udemy is pushing your courses and all you have to do is answer your students' questions and live your life, you have now created a very close to passive income. And
yeah,
that's kind of my goal, right? So how do you create the passive income? You don't if you're spending 12 hours marketing the course yourself.
yeah,
Right? That's not passive income. But if Udemy Organic and Udemy affiliate, and I think, and their ad program are bringing you in X number of dollars that you need to live every month, pretty much every month guaranteed, then what problem do you have? And that's sort of my goal. My goal is to get enough courses and to get enough interaction and to get enough reputation and all that sort of stuff so that Udemy sends enough people to my courses so that whatever my bills are looked after. And then
yeah,
I have financial freedom, right?
hmm,
So that's kind of the way I decided to do it was do co-instructing, do my own podcasting courses, do co-instructing courses, and get out as much content as I could. The
yeah,
reason for that is I see Udemy growing rapidly. So if they have 8 million students today and they have 16 million next November, I'm kind of going to go on the assumption that if my courses are average, if they're bringing $50 now, they'll bring $100 then,
yeah.
which means
I
that my
agree.
income doubles. So, but in order to have Udemy's growth affect you, you can't do it with one course unless that course is a huge major course that has hundreds of thousands of students. The average instructor, if they put one course on and it's making $50 a month through everything, it's a year from now it'll probably still be doing the same thing because you need to have the critical mass to partake in the marketplace. And so that's kind of my goal.
Yeah, there's different ways to get there too. I mean, you were talking about how you do the whole co-instructor thing, and somebody like myself, um, I do the affiliate marketing that you had mentioned earlier,
Mhm.
and I've got plans to write books. So somebody like Rob Cubbin, who averages $4,000 to $5,000 a month in income, for a lot of people, when you're talking passive income, that's a great income. I
Mhm.
mean, where I'm at here, a little bit different than where you're at, but here in Boise, that's a nice living when somebody's making $4,000 to $5,000 a month. So I think that,
Absolutely.
I think that it works. Um, so we talked about some marketing, and what I wanted to talk about next is how do you stay productive so that you turn the wheels of all of the things that you have to do, like marketing and creating new courses.
Well, let me start off by saying I don't think I'm very productive.
Yeah, you're honest then, huh?
Yeah. So,
Join the
and
club.
I always had a problem with productivity until somebody said, listen, all of our ancestors, with the exception of maybe the last 100 or 1,000 years, lived their life like this. They're on the savannah in Africa, they're sitting in the sun, they're laying around, they're chewing on the grass. I'm hungry. They go rummage around, they look for some berries or they look for a deer to kill or something like that. They eat it, they have a feast, and they lay around. So the natural pattern of our lives is we only really work hard when we need something to eat or our house is going to go away or something like that. So
Pay the
that's
bills.
normal. So once you realize that's normal, then you can deal with it, right? So it's like, okay, I want to sit in the hammock. It's a beautiful sunny day. That's normal. Now, do I really want to do that? And understand why I want to do that. Do I really want to do that? And so what I love about my co-instructors is I'll tell them, okay, we're going to record, like you and I were recording right now. This is in the Udemy course, but it works the same way. You
Yeah.
said noon on Tuesday, Scott, I'm going to call you. We're going to record. So what does that mean? Well, that means at noon Tuesday, I'm here and I'm dressed not in my pajamas and I'm ready to go because we have this appointment. So with my co-instructors, it's the same thing. I'll just say, okay, next Tuesday at noon, we're going to meet and we're going to go over this and we're going to go over that. So
Yeah.
now, if it's 2 o'clock in the morning before or 3 days before, I have to have this stuff done. And that deadline is what keeps me going, right? So it's like, if I don't have a deadline with you, it doesn't get done. So it's like, okay, we're going to do this. And then when I have the video done, I send it to my video editor. She's got a list and she'll say, well, do you want me to do this first or that first? I give her the list. She goes and does it. When the course is done, then I contact the co-instructor and say, now we got to review it. So they're more enthusiastic about doing it than I am because they've got one course and I've got 10 going, right?
Yeah.
You know, so they go on, yeah, about this, and they give me the feedback. I check whatever I need to check, but they pull me into the project. So they keep bringing me into the project, which is why I love working with my co-instructors.
Yeah.
They're amazing people, and they keep me involved in the whole process because it won't work without me there. But if it was just up to me, like I just finished a course that I did by myself, took 2 or 3 months. That's my speed. But if I have a system with a co-instructor that forces me to stay in the system,
it pushes
can
you.
be a week, 2 weeks, and we're done.
Yeah. Hey, I guess we should mention too, like for those who are watching, like when we're talking about co-instructors, that Udemy does have information about how that works on their website, teach.udemy.com. And the cool thing about Udemy is you can actually go in and split the revenue either 50-50, 60-40, 70-30. You can set exactly how much each instructor gets, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I do. I do it very simply. I just say, you get 50%, I get 50%. We do the course. When we're done, they pay half of the cost of the video editor, and if there's any marketing that we want to discuss doing afterwards, then we talk about that and decide. And it's really nice because I don't have anything to do with any money, so I don't have to worry about losing money. I don't have to worry about them not paying. They don't have to worry about me not paying. It's a beautiful, beautiful system.
Yeah, and you've seen some good revenue from that too?
Oh, it's first of all, to have 24 courses with co-instructors would be the same as having 3 courses without them. And secondly, you never know what course is going to be a hit. So the more you put out, the more chances you have of having a hit. Well, 2 or 3 of my courses are really doing well that I wouldn't know that they would have, and I wouldn't have got around to doing them on my own without the co-instructors. So I get half of what I would get if I did it on my own, but half of 24 courses versus all of 4 courses is way better.
Yeah. And I've had some offers from some people, to do co-instructed courses and all of that. And I guess I would caution people just to remember that you want to make sure that you know the individual well so that you can trust that it's going to be a quality course, because you have to remember that your name is on it.
Yes.
And so if you've got, like myself, if I've got 8 courses and somebody comes to me and says, would you like to do a course or something like that, I have to make sure that it's up to my quality requirements, because otherwise it could affect the sales of my other courses, possibly. I mean, So, but yeah, that's good information. It's good to hear that you're making some revenue off of that. So, what about some advice that you would give Udemy instructors? Doesn't necessarily have to be on co-instruction, but just anything that you think that's been working well for you that might work well for others.
I think the biggest thing is to participate. Um, by being an instructor in Udemy, you've got the Facebook group, the Udemy studio, you've got the faculty lounge, which I think they only invite certain people to, because there's like, I don't know, 30,000 people in Udemy studio and there's only like 2 or 3,000 in the faculty. But what you do is you hang out in those places. Well, this is the first thing I would do. Get to know some of the instructors, give your opinions, see what they're talking about. You have a bit of a reputation. I got what would be one of the nicest compliments, not meant as a compliment, today, in
Mm-hmm.
that somebody typed something in, I even forget what the topic was, and someone talked about it. So a whole bunch of people are yapping about this thing, right? So one guy goes and he puts like 5 or 6 or 7 Udemy instructors' names in there who hadn't been part of the discussion, and said, I'd really like to know what you thought. Think
Oh
of this.
yeah, Jeremy did that.
Jeremy did that.
I was in on that.
Oh my God, he wants to know my opinion. Like, wow, right? That was just such an ego boost.
Yeah.
But then what happens then when when you get a bit of a reputation, when you participate, you get to know people like we know each other,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so now all of a sudden, if you have a problem or you have a question, you're not all by yourself. I can call up
Yeah.
Dennis and I can say, Dennis, this sort of thing happened. Like, what do you think? Or what should I have done differently or whatever? And I get good feedback. Or I'm going to do a course on this. What do you think? Because I don't necessarily want to let the world know. But you end up creating a resource of support, which I think is crucial to the whole process, right? Is you because you are pretty much all by yourself talking to your computer. Now,
Mm-hmm.
any time other than after 1970, you would be considered totally insane. Right? This guy's talking to that weird thing in front of him and he thinks it's talking back.
I
Like,
talked to my phone.
I talk to my phone.
Yeah.
So I really think it's important to participate. Take courses. Like if you're a new instructor, there's a lot of how to do Udemy
Mm-hmm.
courses. Wander around, ask a few people what are some good Udemy courses, take them, and then just take other courses either in your area or outside your area so you see how people, I really believe in modeling. See how people are doing it. Some are going to model really bad courses, some are going to model really good courses, but you can pick, like, I really like what that person did, I really liked what that person did, because most of us are knowledgeable, we're not necessarily teachers, and there's a
Yeah.
big difference between that. So you have to start learning how to be a teacher, and you have to learn the Udemy system. So take the Udemy course, their intro course, take some of the other how to do Udemy stuff, take some other just courses to see how other instructors work, and and then give feedback. Like, I oftentimes get asked to, can you check out my course and give me some feedback? And I remember one gal, her first video was terrible. And it wasn't that it was terrible, it was just that if you watched it first, you would turn it off. Like, I'm not watching any more of this. Her second and third videos were great. They really pulled you into the course. So I told her, you know, I was turned off by your first video. If it was like the 10th video, 10th lecture would be fine, but the first one was really bad. She says, yeah, I know, but I was told that that video needed to be first. I said, well, don't. Put it later on. Put your first one in, your second one in first. And she did that, and she noticed a huge difference in engagement.
Yeah. Cool. I've got, like, speaking about phones and all of that, normally I turn stuff off and I've got things chiming here and there. Hopefully they're not going to be picked up, but now everybody knows because I'm talking about it. So
It happened
yeah,
to me too. Like, my cell phone never rings, and it rang like 5 minutes ago, so I had to turn it off. Hopefully,
I
well,
heard
it's
it,
just
but
a little
that's
dance.
I heard it, but that's fine. So it happens. Somebody was doing that on a blab the other day, which I thought was kind of strange. I'm like, okay, you're doing the blab, so why don't you silence your cell phone at least, you know? So,
Or
um,
mute yourself.
yeah. So what about, like, some of the, we don't necessarily have to go into like monthly revenue and stuff like that because I told you I like to talk about that stuff to give people an idea, but how about some of the things that Udemy has allowed you to do with the income that you've earned? Have you been able to travel, replace equipment, pay bills?
To be quite honest, I roll all that money pretty much back into my outsourcers and other toys that I might. Well, I'm just trying to look for one here. Uh, things like selfie sticks and all the rest. So at this particular time, it's giving me. Uh, it's actually speeding up the development of a lot of things.
Yeah, I, that's like me, like the equipment I was telling you about, the MacBook and all of that, and that I've
Yes.
traveled, and I'm like, okay, this winter is time to pay things off and get caught up and all of that. So, what about?
Now,
Oh,
but
go ahead.
let me just interrupt you for a
Yeah, go
second.
ahead.
The lifestyle allows for that. So I was in South America when I started my first course. I've been to, where have I been? Well, I'm going to the Bahamas next month.
Oh, I'm
I've
jealous.
I've been to Alaska this year,
Hmm.
and there was some other place I went. Oh, Hawaii a couple times. So
Mm.
I'm able to just pick up, go wherever I want. I take my computer with me. I record. I like to record introductions that don't need to be talking. Well, they're talking heads, but they don't need to be in studio. And
Yeah.
there's slideshows and all the rest of it. Because then all of a sudden it's like, wow, it's really nice seeing palm trees in the back or seeing Machu Picchu in the back.
Hmm.
I want to add excitement. I really think we do things in a very boring way, and like my backyard is gorgeous. I have this Japanese maple that's red and this big cedar that's green. So I'll take my computer, set it up there, and I've got this forest behind me that's my backdrop. So I think if we just sort of look around and say, how can we, develop this, make it a little more interesting for our students and for ourselves? Because it's a challenge to record outside.
Yeah, I agree. When I went to Crater Lake, I had like, speaking of selfie sticks, I didn't have one at the time, but I bought one when I was in Seattle because of that. And I had somebody else taking a photo of me at Crater Lake, and I use that in my promotions that I do because it does. Um, I guess it's a great way to build relationships with students because they see you outside of this kind of I'm not sure like what the word that I'm looking for, but not necessarily manufactured, but this big production and stuff like that. Because like I have a mic right here to my right that you can't see, but I was thinking, maybe that mic would look kind of like sticking a little bit into the shot would look kind of cool, a little bit different or whatever. But yeah, I think that that's cool. Where are you going at in the Bahamas, by the way?
I don't know. I'm actually was invited to a conference in Orlando,
Mm.
and I was looking at some place to go, and they said, "Oh, $69 one way to Nassau." So I thought, great. And then I went on B&B, and I'm just looking for a place to rent. And
It's
or,
$69 one way, right?
yeah,
Yeah, see, I took a cruise for about 100 round trip, and all I did was get my passport. And my friend lives in Fort Lauderdale, and I never realized that the Bahamas are only about 50 miles off the coast of Florida. They
me
start
neither.
about 50, but there's a lot of them, but it's still
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
But yeah, that's
I figured,
awesome.
well, where we live, it's this is a time of year where it's either -30 and snowing or it's pouring rain. So to be somewhere where it's sunny and I can sit on a beach,
Yeah.
I'll take that every day of the week.
Yeah, I know. I thought about that in January. So before we go, Scott, how about one last piece of advice or thought that you can give to those who are listening?
Sure. It's a very rare individual that doesn't feel doubt. And before you can see something, you have to think about it. Before you can create it, you have to believe it's going to happen. And there's a good chance if you're listening to this or watching this that you're thinking about doing some courses on Udemy. And you're going to have your ups and downs. I have 24 live courses. I have 50 that I'm planned out, and I've got probably 10 that I'm in the process of finishing up. So that may look like, oh, well, he's just on the way to the races and no problem. But last week, there was a time when I was just hit by this wave of doubt. And I just thought, I put a lot of time, a lot of energy into this. What if it doesn't happen? And I think we are all human beings, and part of being human is being happy, being sad, being angry, being quiet, being loud. We get the whole range of emotions, and one of them that nobody likes talking about is doubt. And so when it comes up, you just have to say, you know what, I am good enough. This is the direction that I'm going. This is not the time to have a conversation of whether this is right or not. I think we should have these reviews where, am I going in the right direction? Is this really what I want to do? But when doubt is coming up and you can just feel these emotions, that's not the time to have that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you recognize, like, yeah, oh, thank you very much, Mr. Doubt. Sitting here on my shoulder. I have a moose. Everybody, should have somebody. So
you are Canadian, huh?
I have a moose on my shoulder. Don't do this. It's a stupid idea. Thank you very much for sharing. Just put him down. And
I have that, the Space Needle.
the Space Needle. It's part of life, and so you're going to be doing things. You can say, "Oh man, my voice sounds terrible. My hair is awful. I can't believe I have a zit. Who picked his shirt?" There's a million things that you can nitpick about. Don't do it. Just say, you know what? Because your perspective of you is so skewed. Everybody else's perspective of you is entirely different than yours, and so just recognize that and just say, you know what? Everybody doubts, but this is the direction I'm going, and then work through it, and it will pass. It's just like when you have a cold, a few days later you start feeling better. When you have the doubt hit you, it's a few days later it's gone, or an hour later it's gone, or whatever. But it can really kill your dreams. And the one thing I think with Udemy that we all have the opportunity to do is live the life of our dreams. If we can make $3,000, $4,000 a month, for most people, all our expenses are paid. And Robert Kiyosaki says financial freedom is having all your bills paid on the first of the month without fail. Because then you have the rest of the month to do whatever you want, which may be more courses, which may be something else that that's a personal thing, or it could be some other type of business. And I want to bring this back because you asked this question and I only half answered it, Dennis.
Mm-hmm.
By being an instructor on Udemy, people have been watching me, and then they approach me about totally different projects that have nothing to do with what I'm teaching on Udemy. And that's one of the reasons why I'm going to Orlando. I was not going to Orlando a week ago, but someone contacted me and said, we've got this conference, we'd really like you to come. We want you to do this and do that, participate. I was like, oh, wow, really? So Udemy positions you as an expert, and there's a lot of people on Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn that are watching what you're doing, and as they see you progress, and as they see you determined, and as they see your success, they want a piece of it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Other doors open, right? So it's just like, wow, this is really cool.
Yeah, I've never thought about that. I mean, it is so true. It's the same thing, when somebody writes a book that you are considered an expert in that subject because, I mean, there might be like 100 books on WordPress, or there might be 50 books on Udemy or whatever, but still, even at like when you do that, you're still above all of these other people who haven't written a book or who haven't produced a course on Udemy yet, and they might be an expert in their subject matter, but they haven't put something content out there for people to see. And I never thought that, like what you just said, that there's actually people on LinkedIn that are out there watching that kind of stuff, So that's pretty cool. Yeah. So hey, where can we find you online?
Well, you can go to udemy.com/user/Scott Paton.
You might want to spell your last name out.
Paton.
Okay.
You can also, if you do a search for me on iTunes, you'll see 35 podcasts that I've been co-producing there. Or you can go to powerpodcasters.com, and that's the main site.
Awesome. And I will make sure that that information gets shared out there in the appropriate areas. So great. And just for those of you who might be listening to us somewhere else besides, who knows where this might be on the internet, you can find me online at www.dennisjsmith.com. I don't know if I put in too many W's there, but it's the 3 W's and then dennisjsmith.com. And Scott, I want to thank you for your time today talking with you. I think that you had some great advice. I certainly appreciate that you took the time to join me.
My pleasure, Dennis. I'm happy to be here for you.
Great. Thanks, everybody, and look forward to the book hopefully this fall. Have a great day or evening or whatever. Thanks.